Equality in capital letters is what we stood for. Growing up in a Quaker community where equality of men is foremost. In fact, where I was born, this was a member of the Underground Slave Railroad. So that the idea of everyone, we're part of a human community. That's the way I feel about our products. What we're doing is products to help all be healthier, live longer, and productive lives. So I went to Marion College in 1949, and before I knew it, 4 years had gone by. As soon as I graduated, the draft board said, your number. I was deferred as long as I was a full-time student. I was sent to Camp Pickett, Virginia, where we had basic training during the muddy, snowy winter. And then I was shipped to San Antonio, Texas for advanced field aid training. I was expecting to be an aidsman. When I was stationed at Fort Sam, there was announced that there was a Valentine's party offered by a church in town. I was impressed by the theme of the Valentine's banquet. Everything about the terminology on the menu, the centerpieces on the tables, hangings on the wall, they were all the same theme. I learned that a lady I saw in a Bible study before the service, across the circle of us, there's a lady over there that caught my eye. And I think she winked at me. She says I winked at her. She was very attractive. I learned after that she was the one in charge of the art. I had 2 or 3 dates, then I was shipped out. But not to Korea as I was expecting to. Instead, I was shipped to Fort Knox. Almost every day I would get cards or letters, and they smell good. When they would mail call here, all of us were standing around waiting for to receive our whatever was coming to us. Before I received mine, it had passed through many hands. Everybody would sniff that envelope before I finally gained possession. That was my wife. On the outside of the envelope or card, she had drawn a bird with an envelope in its beak, airmail, puppies, kittens, and artwork all over, and that was her. She was an artist. Uncle Sam was the mediator of our communication. We didn't have cell phones back in those days, so it was by mail. Saying she's important that's an understatement. She was my wife, but she was more than that. I mean, she's my inspiration. So I got out 1 month early from my military commitment to matriculate at Ohio State University College, pre-med. And so after pre-med, went into medicine, had 2.5 years of medicine, did not get to finish, ran out of money, family was coming on, I had to work nights, I couldn't keep awake in class, working all night long, and so I had to interrupt it. The dean of the college of medicine told me if I could become financially independent, he would do his best to get me back into the system. It didn't happen. My family kept growing, and I didn't become financially independent, so I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. In 1975, I was introduced to a different paradigm in medicine. The doctors who practiced using vitamins, minerals, and that sort of thing, they were considered the riffraff at that time. I was called by a friend of mine who said that this is the medicine of the future. You need to come and see about it. Doctors and professors talk about how they were able to change the life of individuals. And I've been taught you can't change. They're going to get worse, you just palliate them. But they said they turned them around. And so it angered me because I thought, well, if what they're saying, either they're a bunch of liars, the worst I'd ever heard, or why weren't they teaching this in medical school? And it took 6 months of going to medical libraries and trying to research into what I hadn't been really taught in medical school, a different way of looking at health. I was very happy because I'm bringing new ideas to the doctors. I would spend every evening at the medical library in Kansas City. I knew where every library closed, what time they closed, because I'd leave one and go to another and keep studying until the last one closed. Next day, I would share with the doctors I would call upon what I'd learned the night before. They loved it. And the business in my territory grew because I was sharing what the doctors didn't have time to learn. It was based on science, and so that's been a part of ever since. The company I was working for then was the owner of that company did not have any science background, but the products he had were pretty good. However, it came to light that they were not always exactly as labeled. And then this became disturbing to me, and I tell my wife, and she said, we can't continue representing something if it's not factual. So we are going to start our own company. I remember the owner of one very large manufacturer, I told him what I wanted, and he leaned back in his chair and he laughed and he said, Dale, 95% of the product that's in the marketplace is not what the buyer thinks it is. So I said, well, I want to be in that 5%. We want to have products made that I represent accurately, honestly, and we eventually started our own manufacturing. We started out, every aspect of the business was done by hand. So one person running one machine, filling bottles, one bottle here and one bottle here, and take by hand. Now, in 1 minute, we can do over 200 bottles containing 100 capsules. And so we can do thousands more products to touch more lives, that's it. If the product is not made well, then we're not contributing well to the other person's health. Very soon, we were looking for a larger facility, and we traveled over all Northwest Arkansas looking for a place that could be adapted to our needs. Well, I had come back from a trip, and Marty said, take me to this place. This Cottoner Vineyards had been advertised they're going to sell. All this was, to my mind, awesome. Marty said, this could work for us. I said, no way. This doesn't look like a manufacturing facility to me. But once again, Marty was right, because we've been here since 1990. We do manufacturing in the basement. Started out, as I said, very small, kept growing. What we now call the basement, it's just the first floor. The north building, which was the winery, we had converted into state-of-the-art equipment, all going back to Marty. From the time we first met, the Valentine's banquet, her creativity has been manifest throughout. She envisioned, I didn't, she did. It's her dream is every bit as much, if not more, than mine. She passed away July 2 years ago, but to the very end, we were together. 65 years, married life. Every day, I miss her. I look here and there and see, that's because of Marty, that's because of Marty. Everything because of Marty. We now have a ISO certified analytical lab, and so we will be able to not only test our own products, but we can test the products of others. There are many institutions that have come to us for products for use in studies. We provide whatever strength that they ask for, whether it is Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic or Harvard. I don't know how many more years I'll have, but I'm going to be working till I can't work anymore and continuing this mission. And the idea is to reach as many people in as many countries as we can. And that's what my dream, so we can make more products, to go to more places, touch more lives. And that's the goal.